We all have our favorites among bodybuilders, but when it comes to steroid use and addiction, it seems even the best in the game have tried their luck with it. Let's watch. Number 5. Ronnie Coleman. Bodybuilding legend and 8-time Mr. Olympia winner Ronnie Coleman was a guest on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast and discussed a number of topics related to the world of professional bodybuilding. Coleman narrated why he joined bodybuilding, his diet, and peak fitness, while also revealing facts about steroid use in the early part of his storied career. A 56-year-old Coleman revealed that he began the use of steroids at the age of 30, as he was tired of getting his ass kicked at competition. He said that everything was legal in those times, and the use of steroids saw Coleman increase his ranking and then winning the actual competitions. He said that steroids helped him level the playing field. Coleman said that he would get prescriptions from doctors on the use of steroids, and drug enforcement officials were shown the prescriptions when they approached the athletes. I wasn't taking tons of stuff. I probably wasn't taking any more than what those baseball players were taking. Studies have shown that the use of steroids leads to higher chances of premature passing in men, and even suggesting that people using anabolic steroids have a greater risk of self-destructive, both mentally and physically. Coleman explained that every time when some of the kids went off steroids, they would get depressed. They had kids out there taking it and committing self-harm, Coleman said when they asked why DEA were going after bodybuilders. Coleman also revealed his diet and body fat ratio on the podcast, which was something that shocked Rogan and most of the viewers. What a lot of people don't understand is you see me big up there, but it took a long time for me to get there. I didn't get there overnight. I put on between 5 and 10 pounds of muscle a year, and that came from all the heavy lifting and a lot of eating. Number 4. Rich Piana. Before his passing, bodybuilder Rich Piana was outspoken about his near 30 years of steroid usage, despite admitting time and time again that the drug can kill you. The former Mr. California's passing was confirmed by his estranged wife, Sarah Piana, just 2 weeks after TMZ Sports reported he was placed in a medically induced coma after passing out in his Florida home, where 20 bottles of testosterone were reportedly found by police. With an Instagram following of 1.2 million users and hundreds and thousands of viewers following his YouTube channel, Piana had a large audience of fans, many of which were young men, who would flock to bodybuilding and fitness conventions to meet the 46-year-old star. But though Piana was open about his drug use, he maintained that he was not bragging or encouraging steroid use in others. Instead, Piana claimed he used his platform to educate those who were going to use them on how to use the drugs properly. If you have the choice to stay natural or do steroids, stay natural. There's no reason to do steroids. You're only hurting your body, you're hurting yourself, he explained in an April 2016 YouTube video. If you want to become a professional bodybuilder, guess what? You're probably going to have to fucking do them. You're not going to have a choice. Piana first got into the drug at a young age, trying the common cycle known as test and deca, a practice that mixes testosterone with the anabolic steroid deca-durabolin for bulking, when he was just 18 years old. I went from weighing 185 pounds to bouncing up over 200 in 8 weeks, and competing in a show and taking first and winning the overall, he said of that initial cycle in an April 2014 YouTube video. That weight gain came with a significant shift in Piana's strength. When he graduated high school, he said he was bench pressing 315 pounds. After the steroids, his bench went up to 405 pounds. The drugs were an expensive undertaking for Piana. When he was competing on the national level, Piana said he would take 20 international units of Serostim growth hormone a day, which, if bought through the prescription of a doctor, would cost him roughly $8,000 a month. Number 3. Dorian Yates. In the past, Dorian Yates has admitted to having used steroids consistently for 12 years, from 1985 until he retired from professional bodybuilding in 1997. While using steroids and other substances helped him in his pro career, Yates has admitted that he faced some side effects as well. During his discussion on the True Geordie podcast, Yates explained the long-term effects of steroids with an example of insulin. People use insulin in medical contexts. However, bodybuilders use it so that muscles can absorb more nutrients. Yates said that the long-term negative effects of this heavily outweigh the short-term gains, and added that insulin, in combination with other substances, is more likely to take decades off of the user's life. Yates stated that steroid use has not only increased among people that don't even compete, but they're using higher doses than even professional bodybuilders used back in the 1990s. The 59-year-old at the time further stated that steroid use is increasing with each generation. Yates argued that although it helps with recovery and gains initially, there comes a point when they don't add any value. Number 2. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, who has acknowledged using steroids during his years as a champion bodybuilder, said he doesn't regret using the performance-enhancing drugs. In an interview, Schwarzenegger told ABC's George Stephanopoulos, "I have no regrets about it because at that time, it was something new that came on the market, and we went to the doctor and did it under doctor's supervision." Schwarzenegger has acknowledged taking steroids, but pointed out that they were legal at the time. "We were experimenting with it. It was a new thing. So you can't roll the clock back and say, now I would change my mind on this," he said. The former 7-time Mr. Olympia said he would not encourage drug use because it sent the wrong message to children. But he said he had no problem with athletes taking nutritional supplements and other legal substances to improve their performance. Number 1. Jay Cutler. Even though performance-enhancing drugs are integral to the sport of bodybuilding, very few bodybuilders talk openly about the PEDs they actually use. However, during a recent interview with IFBB bodybuilder and powerlifter Greg Doucette, bodybuilding legend and 4-time Mr. Olympia winner Jay Cutler went into detail about his own history with steroids. "There's a lot of misconception on what we actually do," Cutler said. "I've never really spoken about it, to be honest, and I just think in this era, it's kind of like the hidden question that people want to ask. Hey, what do the pros take?" During his conversation with Doucette, Cutler spoke about his steroid cycles during his career, and specifically during the years of 2000 to 2005. "Basically, after the Olympia, I would come off for 12 weeks, then I would start my cycle for the Arnold Classic," Cutler said. "Then I would come off after the Arnold, and I would have a good break for like 8 to 12 weeks, and then I would start my thing in June for the Olympia." As for the steroids he was actually taking during that period, Cutler said that his whole year consisted of buying exotic drugs like Parabolin, Winstrol Amps, and Masteron. "I would start with Equipoise for the contest, and then every 4 weeks I would kind of change it. Then I would switch to propionate instead of enanthate. The biggest difference I learned later is anti-estrogens, so using Nolvadex and Arimidex," Cutler added. While Cutler isn't taking any of those drugs now, he explained that he is on a real HRT, or hormone replacement therapy, and used the interview as an opportunity to dispel some misconceptions about the amount he's actually taking. "I know people that say I'm on HRT and I'm taking 500 mg. No one needs 500 mg on HRT, okay? I take a half cc to a full cc, usually a week, and that rate has switched around. I rarely gone over 1. This is my first cycle, to be honest. I did 1 cc of Sustanon. I think they were preloaded Sustanon from Mexico. They were the best things. I mean, I put on like 50 pounds, Cutler said. What wasn't said in the interview was that steroids have some undeniably serious side effects. As Dr. Leon Creaney of Manchester's Institute of Health and Performance puts it, in a recent Danish study, anabolic androgenic steroid users were found to have all-cause mortality 3 times higher than non-users. Users also had much higher prevalence of male breast development, infertility, erectile dysfunction, cardiomyopathy, heart muscle disease, atrial fibrillation, abnormal heart rhythm, pulmonary embolism, blocked artery, liver damage, jaundice, and acne. So if you're considering taking steroids to get biceps that are slightly more defined, maybe think again. That's all for this video, folks. See you another time.